Hey, so Amazon FBA fees are changing on the 18th of January. In this video, we're gonna talk about that change. We're gonna see how we can help you with these changes of the fees. So maybe we're gonna speak about how you can optimize your business because the fees are going up and then you have to pay more. So we're gonna see how we can optimize, help you optimize things so you can actually even have somewhere benefit from these changes. I mean, we would rather not have them, but Amazon gets their fees up pretty much every year as far as I remember. And in this video, we're gonna try to help you with this topic. Today, I'm accompanied by Ioan Mateescu, and he has over 10 years of experience in internet marketing, in direct response marketing. He's a copywriter, and he's gonna be with us today for this cool video. But Ioan, can you introduce yourself to us? And he's also known with the nickname of Speed, which is pretty cool, I think. But can you tell us your story, man? And yeah, we're gonna dive into the content after that.
Ioan.
Yeah.
People call me Speed. They've been calling me since I was 60 years old, a long time. And I've been doing direct response for about 10 years now. I've been working with all sorts of people in a whole bunch of industries, from finance, crypto, e-commerce, of course, and even smaller stuff like fitness. And I've been helping business owners scale their business, reach out to more people, sell more products, and everything that you need to be a successful businessman. So about a year or so ago, I also got myself involved in e-commerce. I got involved in a business who helps Amazon sellers directly, people who sell through FBA especially, by helping them reduce their fees, mostly through reconciliation, but we also try to help in other ways. I wrote this article about the fees that are coming on January the 18th, 2022. So there's not much longer from when we're recording, there's a few days left, and the fees are going up. Is this a problem? Probably. Okay, we're living in a really difficult time right now with quarantines, with issues like shipments are not going through. There's not enough employees in the warehouses and in the ports and stuff. So of course, there are problems. We're going to try to look at ways that we can solve these issues and maybe never let a crisis go to waste, they say, and turn this into an opportunity to actually improve your profit margins and perhaps, help your business scale a bit more. So next year, in 2023, you can be way bigger business with way more opportunities than you are today.
Pretty cool. Let's help our viewers today. Good to have you here. Also, we're going to have the link to the article you wrote in the description for those of us who like maybe reading a little bit more. We're going to have also during the video some pictures appearing to emphasize some things that we're going to be talking about. But for those who like to read blogs and in-depth things, then it's going to be down in the description. And yeah, man, let's discuss it. So what do you think? Like you mentioned, kind of turning the sort of the crisis into opportunity, which I like the sound of it. It's good. Yes, there is crisis. The 2020 made many people rich as well. The Corona, many people who profited from this did a lot of profits. Many people lost something, but I mean, we're still in a post-Corona world or not post-Corona world, whatever that is. I don't know, in some...
I think we're still in the middle of it. I think the
middle
worst
of it,
has yet to come.
Right.
Hyperinflation hasn't happened anywhere yet, and it's kind of looking like that.
All right.
But if you're a producer and you've got products that you're selling, then inflation isn't necessarily that bad because your prices are also going up with everything else. Yeah. So if you're managing your business properly, you should be able to keep yourself afloat. Keep your margins somewhat steady. And if things are going down because there are so many things outside of your control, then there are ways that if you've not implemented before, you can implement now to recover some of those losses and keep yourself, at a steady level that you can maintain your growth with.
So with fees, like what do we do? Like fees are going up, as we mentioned, in a few days. Probably when the video's out, it's going to be either maybe the day before, the same day, but nevertheless, they're going to go up. What do we do, man? Like, what do you think?
Well, first of all, let's look at the fees that are going up. A lot of them are not going up. They're going to stay steady. It's going to cost the same to open up an account on Amazon and do most of your business. But fulfillment fees are going up. Storage fees are going up. Prep fees, dealing with returns and things like that. So all of the logistical stuff that Amazon handles for you, they're going to be charging you more for. It's not too big of an increase. They're just keeping up with inflation. Everybody has to keep up with it because they have their own business to keep afloat. But you should expect between a 2 and 9% increase in pretty much everything that you do when collaborating with Amazon. So if your margins are pretty low, if they're like sub 10%, a 5% increase from the 40% cut that Amazon generally takes, or 30%, it's basically 10-20% of your profit just down the drain because of this change potentially. So you need to be on top of it, and you need to implement a few things that you can to cut the costs of delivering your products to Amazon, cut the cost of them handling it, cut the cost of them storing it. Space costs money, space is valuable, and all of these things have different little tweaks, that you can implement. We're not going to go into the difficult things that you might need to hire someone to actually spend months on to figure out, but just the things that you can implement now that if you haven't done before, it can bring you some immediate results that you can see and get some returns from to reinvest in your business and maybe focus on things that you are actually good at and care about.
Yeah, so you're saying like, yeah, the fees are going up. As you mentioned, you're seeing, or how to say, it's going to be around, depends on, I guess, on the category, depends on what you are doing with FBA. It's between 2 and 9%. So this is a lot. Like maybe it doesn't sound that much, but it builds up. So we want to see how we can make our businesses eat that up and still stay on top of the game. Yes, that's our idea also with the video. So what do you think? Like, what first thing that you have to say about it in terms of like some advice?
In the article, I talk about, I think, 4 tactics that people can implement. They're called tactics because they're not, long-term strategic approaches. They're just things that you can quickly implement. They relate to basically the main areas where the fees are going up the most. In the first case, it's of course fulfillment. So let me bring this up so I can have the actual numbers here to explain to you. So starting from January the 18th, for FBA fulfillment fees, I mentioned between 2 and 9%, but let's look at a specific example. You've got, for example, in the large standard tier of products, these are generally charged based on weight and size, as you're probably familiar. We can see between 12 and 16 ounces, they will now cost from the 18th $4.52 per unit, when they used to cost $4.25. That's a 27-cent increase per unit. So if you have 10,000 products in that range, which you have to deliver all the time, every single month, 27 cents times 10,000 is a lot of money that you're losing that you can probably recover. Just by focusing on this. And what you can do is you can look at products which are kind of around that range in that tier. So if, for example, they weigh not 12 pounds, but they weigh like 12.1 pounds, 12.2, you can maybe reduce the packaging by optimizing a little bit the space or the wrapping material that you use, the padding, things like that. You can lower it to 11.9 or 11.8, not pounds, sorry, ounces in this case, which would put it in the previous tier, and instead of being charged $4.52, we're going to be charged $3.77. So just by optimizing a little bit, it's not percentage-wise, it's a very small difference, but because you're in a different tier, you are saving 70 cents pretty much per unit instead of being charged, 20 cents more. So you have this 50-cent difference that you're going to be saving by making this change in the future by looking at this thing now instead of leaving things as they are.
That's a great tactic, man. I think we should try to do that for all our products. And what I see myself as a seller, sometimes it depends on the amount of products. Someone might have 1,000 products, right? Somebody might have 10. So you can kind of look into that more realistically. Maybe someone has 1,000, already has some people working with them. But what I'm saying is exactly what you've mentioned. Like you can go and check out what is the weight and the size of your products. And you can see maybe you're on that verge of like a little bit of changes to get into the lower tier. And I have a video for you here. I'm going to put it up here in the card in the description where I shared my story of how I was able to save about $5,000. I think in that case it was $4,580 because we have placed the product in a different tier by cutting a little bit of the product itself and a little bit of the, exactly as you mentioned, a little bit of the package, maybe changing the material to still keep it in the same kind of functionality, because we don't want to hurt the product and its performance, because that will lead to bad reviews and bad experience. But what if we can leave it or even improve the experience, but put it in a lower sort of tier of a product? So I'll link this video in the description for those who want to watch, but that's the tactic. I think it's a pretty good idea, man. That's really nice. Yeah, and
on this note, it's important to realize that Amazon hires people. There's people working in that company. It's not just robots and algorithms as you might be, interacting with them. And people make mistakes. And I've been working with clients on these issues, and I've noticed quite often that the products aren't measured correctly. So you might have products, you've done this thing, okay, you've reduced the packaging, they're supposed to be, 1.9 kilograms instead of 2 kilograms. And you look at your products in the Amazon system and they're 2.05 or something, and you get charged the extra amount because they're in the higher tier when they're not supposed to be.
Right.
And that's really horrible. And if you never look at these things, you're never going to notice. So you just get charged extra money, and it gets lost in the ether forever, and Amazon makes that money and you don't. I recommend, that you go to your fee preview reports, you go to your inventory, you try to compare the different charges that you've had and find these discrepancies so you can actually make sure that things are correct. And once you have them be correct, then you can work on optimizing them further and getting more products that fit in better categories, and make sure it's not just about weight but also about volume, because I'm pretty sure they're going to change things now and they're going to charge you whatever is the highest. So they used to have different tiers that they compare with each other and they charge you each individually, but now they only have the same fee in certain areas depending on which of the two is highest. So you might be lowering the weight of it, but then the volume exceeds the weight and you still get charged a high amount. So it's important to not just optimize by cutting some of the weight of the product, but also try to pack things better together, maybe disassemble a few parts so they are, they fit better together, so they take less space and you don't pack air. Instead, you pack the product that people want. What else do we have?
Great point, man. Yeah, I think hopefully our viewers are enjoying. Listeners would appreciate a like on the video or a dislike if you don't like, but then tell us why you don't like, what can we improve?
Yeah, so besides just making sure that the sizing and the dimensions are correct, when you send products to Amazon, they have to handle them and they do all sorts of things to them. So they have to put in bubble wrapping and bagging and things like that if you haven't done it. But they also have to store those products. Space is very important, it's valuable, and Amazon incentivizes you to sell the products as quickly as possible, so you don't clog up their warehouses. You don't put too much work on their employees. They don't want their employees to do stuff. Ideally, they would have 0 employees. So the more you can do yourself and the more responsible you can be with your products so that Amazon has to not worry about them, the less you're going to be charged by Amazon. So if you can prepare things ahead of time, make sure that the contents are accurately described, make sure that they have adequate amounts of padding and bubble wrapping, make sure that they are labeled correctly, make sure that they get sold quickly, like in a month or two instead of a year, then you're going to minimize your fees in general. So you have these rules of thumb that you should follow, or you should make some standard operations in your business that your employees are going to follow to not put undue stress on Amazon, because they hate it and they're going to make your life a nightmare because of it.
And they'll charge you.
So specifically on storage, I don't know if you have experience with this, but sometimes products get lost in storage. They might get lost in the fulfillment centers and they don't really tell you about it. They're just there and you think that they're being sold, but they're not being put on the storefront to be sold. So you might not worry about this ever, and it's been like a year or two, and you have the same product there. And if it's a heavy, big, expensive product, if you're selling, a machinery or something, and you sell, I don't know, 100, 200 items a month, you don't notice one of them missing. It just slipped through the cracks. And it's going to be there for 2 years. And after a certain period, after 9 months, they're going to start charging you more for it. And if it's a heavy object, they're going to charge you even more for it. They have like special fees for the additional weight that they have in the storage. And then you see all of these fees accruing for years and years and years. Those fees, you could be reinvesting in advertising and marketing. You could be improving your products, doing research and development, and maybe even the packaging. That requires, some study and some development as well. So instead, you have these resources locked in that product that is just sitting there, and you're paying Amazon to take care of it when they're not doing anything to sell it for you. So you need to be very diligent and, do inventory reports, make sure that the products are being sold. And if they can't be sold because they've been damaged or they have issues with them, or Amazon doesn't like them for whatever reason because they've not been packed properly, or someone made a mistake and their SKU is wrong, things like that, then you need to resolve those issues directly with Amazon. You need to talk with them. You need to tell them, hey, rescan my product. Is it sellable? Is it bad? Is it broken? What are you doing about it? And if things are broken, they have a special system for that. They have the liquidation system. I don't know if you've used it before. They have tools in place to help you solve these issues. But if you're not aware that they exist, and if you're not looking in how to solve them, then they're always going to cause these damages to your business that are going to stop you from growing.
Yeah, so if I understand right, when you mentioned 2 things. First one is sort of all the little things like labeling, for example. You can label your products. If you're creating private labels, products say in China, you can ask the factory to put the labels on the product. It's going to be much cheaper, probably. Yes, it depends again, but in my case, it would definitely be cheaper to put the labels on the product in China and ship them already to FBA. That means you will not only save on the fees, because Amazon will charge you for this little work to put the fees on each product, and they will charge you, I don't remember exactly how much, but they will.
It's like 30 cents or something.
Exactly, yes, 30 cents. I think you got it, yeah. Exactly. Even if it's a small volume, even 100 products, it's what, like $30, right? Yes, if I counted right.
So it's depending on the type of product. So if you have like fragile products, that have glass or electronics or things, they take 80 cents per item to prep it. Labeling is 30 cents overall. So the range is basically between 80 cents for small products and like $1.60 or $2 even for the larger or more fragile products, for the whole different thing. If they're oversized, if they're really large ones, then they can even go up to $3 per item. So you can do those things yourself. And if you optimize your process, it can cost you, 10 cents per unit instead of 30. So that's a pretty big difference. That really adds up if you have a large volume of products. And if you're growing as a business, you need to keep these in mind, because it's going to become a problem later on.
So optimize these things, see how you can optimize. That's one example I gave, and that like saves a little bit if you do it alone, or maybe in your factory, or depends. Maybe some people are doing what I've never done, like retail arbitrage. Maybe they go buy products in stores and then they can prep them themselves again, buy these labels, create them, and then print them and do this on your own. Maybe it will take you a little bit more time, but you will save a lot more, and then maybe you can put a person there or something, some process that will still be cheaper than Amazon. So that's what we mentioned. Another thing is the second thing you mentioned is that Amazon loses products. Amazon loses products on always. It just happens. The machine is that big, and as perfect as it is, it's not. So we can try to get reimbursed for that. And I think that's a good idea, because sometimes you won't even know that you need to get reimbursed. You don't see that because you have so many products moving, and you don't even know that 5 were lost, and 5 from this product, from this, and in a year you lost 200 products. Well, that's a lot of products, right? And no one, they just got lost. No one pays you back. So you can't get paid back by Amazon. I think you do that. That's one of the companies that you work with. You do this reimbursement. So first, we're gonna have all your contacts in the description. Also have a playlist for this topic on YouTube, also going to be in the description, where you can learn more about reimbursements in depth, like what kind of like damaged in warehouse, lost in warehouse. There are many of them, so there's a playlist to learn more about that, of videos. But yeah, man, so that's the other thing. What else do you think there is we can optimize and look at with the fees?
So first of all, to answer your question, my primary Amazon business handles this directly. So the reconciliation part with missed inventory or missing, lost, destroyed stuff. Also dealing with returns that are fraudulent, or perhaps over time there's like a 45-day period in which people can return the products and then you get reimbursed. And sometimes Amazon forgets. They return the product, or the product gets returned and they credit it, but then they don't give you the money for it, or things go wrong in the process. There's so many things that they just don't notice. Even when you send them the parcels, you send them 30 products in the box and they take them out, they count them, and they only count 28 for whatever reason. Maybe they slipped up, whatever, and they credit in your inventory 28 objects when they're supposed to be 30, and that's it. They don't mention it, they just forget about it, and things move on. And if you don't look at those inventories, don't look at their reports, and don't notice the difference, and don't tell them, hey, Amazon, there's supposed to be 30 objects that I sent you and you only counted 28, what's up with that? They're never going to do anything. Some of them, sure, they do notice and they react to automatically, but most of the time they just let it through. And you have to keep them accountable, because in my opinion, I think they're stealing from you. I think they do it on purpose. Like 1% from each business really adds up, right? If you have hundreds of thousands of sellers on Amazon with billions and billions of dollars in value, what's 1% of that you're just skimming off the top?
Millions,
not telling them.
Millions.
Yeah. So we talked about transparent fees, all of these things that they tell you about. This is how much it costs to prep your products. This is how much it costs to store them, to fulfill, deliver, and do all those things. But these are not transparent fees. These are hidden fees that they never tell you about, that you need to dig in your accounting. You need to dig in your inventory reports and actually find yourself. And you have to have the confidence to tell Amazon, hey, you're wrong. You need to give me this money because it's mine. It's not yours. And if you don't do it, I'm going to sue you, perhaps. For really big mess ups, like we've had clients who have lost a shipment of 100 products that are like $1,000 each. So when you have that big of a loss, then it's significant. And Amazon are not going to be, some random customer support agent is not going to give you $100,000 just like that. They're going to ask you for all sorts of proof, right? Yep. They're going to be like, okay, have you actually sent these products? Show them to us. Sometimes they just find them and they put them back into your account. Yeah, okay, we missed this parcel. We're going to credit it to your account. Sometimes they don't. They might even lie. Okay, and you need to be prepared to fight for these things, because it's a lot of money that you lost and they have no incentive to give it to you. Because if you don't fight for it, they're just going to keep it in their pocket, right? So that's what we do. We try to help people, first of all, recognize these issues, Second of all, alert Amazon that they are an issue. And if things get, serious, we try to fight for you and get all of that money back to the best of our ability. And of course, we give you all the tools and information necessary. There's a lot of people out there who have their own tools, so you can do it yourself if you want to, or you can hire your own person in-house to manage these things, an accountant or an auditor who is an expert in these particular things. And it's the same with everything. Like even with fulfillment, you can do fulfillment yourself. Ideally, once you grow as a business and you have, your margins set in stone and you want to diversify to increase your market share, then what you want to do is you want to capture more of the vertical that you're trying to serve. Right? If you want to do the fulfillment yourself, you want to do the sourcing yourself, even the development of the product. Make your own product, sell it to people, customer service, everything you want to handle yourself, because that's profit that you lose if you don't, right? If you're paying someone else to do it for you, then they're the ones who are profiting from this part of the operation. At the same time, if you want me to continue, there's the flip side of it, of the division of labor, right? Why do we have prosperity in the world right now? Because people specialize on particular things, right? Everyone has the thing that they're good at. And by distributing the work to the experts, you can focus on a thing you're best at, and you get the biggest amount of profit that you can from that particular thing. And then you let someone else give you a larger share of the other side of things, while you pay them a small percentage or whatever cut that they are capable of doing. And you basically get that difference that you wouldn't be able to capture yourself for free. Like you don't have to do anything, they do everything, and you just give them a percentage of what they created for you. And that's Amazon's business model, basically. They do the marketing and they do the fulfillment, and you just do the sourcing of the product and dealing with the customers.
As you mentioned, that's what you help people kind of improve. So you help them improve their bottom line profit, because when Amazon loses all this, we can do that alone, try to kind of recover these things, or we can, for example, as you mentioned, work with your company, and then I believe you don't take any money up front. You also work on that model where you take percentage of what's recovered. So essentially, it doesn't cost you to work.
So even if you've done this before, or you have someone who's handling these things, basically what sets us apart from all the big companies, that have special algorithms that automate everything, is that we go that extra mile. We try to be personal with things and try to focus on your specific issues. So each of our clients has different types of products. They service a different kind of niche. They're not all the same in what they are losing. So sometimes you have to focus more in one area, sometimes you have to focus more in a different one. And we try to tailor make our service so that we are efficient. We try to maximize as much as we can the losses that we recover. And of course, your business best, and you can do this best on your own. But if you want to focus on the specific things that you're good at, right? Delivering the product to your clients and making sure that they're happy and getting the benefit of what you're producing, then having someone who is capable of empathizing with you and understanding what you're doing and trying to keep your customer in mind when you're doing all of these things is very important. So that's what we're trying to focus on. This is the main focus of the business, just recovering the fees lost and trying to optimize things like that. But personally, I'm a marketer. I'm an advertising guy. I also try to help people scale their business so they have more of not just the profit margin, but more gross revenue that we can get commissions from afterwards. So when working with us, we don't take anything up front. You just do your own thing. We do our own thing, and you're going to see extra money coming into your bank account. We're like, hey, we recovered $1,000 for you this week. Okay, we're going to need 10% of that, or 15% of that, depending on the contract, whatever you negotiate, whatever the scope of our service is. That's what is cool about us. We try to keep things tailored to you, whatever you need. And then we just bill you, you pay us afterwards. So first you get the money from Amazon, you have it in your bank account, and then you pay us afterwards. I think that's the most fair way of doing these things, because not everyone has the cash flow to actually manage these things.
I understand, man. Well, pretty cool, yeah. I mean, makes sense to me. I've also used different services for reimbursement and done it myself. I've done it through software. I think I did all the spectrum of tools available for sellers. I mean, honestly, the easiest one is when you do it with a company that does it for you. But then if you want to keep more of the profits, that's what I recommend people. If you have the time, do it yourself first. Try to take what you possibly can take, then use cheaper software that takes less percentages, and then go to services. Because eventually this will take you a bit more time, but you save more. Usually for smaller sellers, that would be the best, because usually they're trying to, or bigger companies maybe, they are more, as you mentioned, they try to be more efficient in sourcing their products and actually selling. They don't have time to put systems in place maybe for this, so they'd rather just pay part of the profits to an external company. So
that's my recommendation as well. So generally, when you're working with someone, you need to know what they're doing. Yeah. Personally, I try to be a generalist in my understanding of things. So I've studied a lot in all sorts of different industries and all sorts of different ways of doing things. Because when I hire someone to do something for me, I want to know if they're doing a good job. Yeah. I don't want to be there just hoping or trusting them utterly that they know what they're doing, because they might not be. I mean, I've had people who didn't, do their job well enough, and I only realized 6 months later when I met someone else who told me, what is that guy doing? They don't know what they're doing. Yeah. So it's important to initially, find the information, try to do it yourself, get some money back, see that it works, figure out how these things can be implemented in your own business, find out what the difficulties are, what the costs are, and then look for tools to optimize your thing. There's a lot of cool tools like Helium 10, seller tools, whatever. There's a lot of brands who specialize in this thing to help you optimize the time of doing all of these things. And then when you're ready, to talk to someone to go to the next level, to just push it off to them 100%, they might have their own special algorithms that they've developed, or their own secrets that they haven't shared with anyone, that the tools are never going to tell you, or you're never going to figure out. So you can get that extra 5-10% on top of everything. Then, you talk with an expert, you make sure that they actually know what they're talking about. You test them out, see that they can actually give you that extra 5-10% that you didn't get before. And then you're happy and keep working together. That's the plan.
Nice, man. What are things, Ioan, you think we can do to improve the fees, the FBA fees that are changing? What else can be done to try to stay afloat?
Well, besides the optimizing, you have, as we've mentioned, you have the fulfillment fees, you have storage fees, you have prep fees, and things like that. Another problem is access to cash flow, right? So I think advertising is very important. Usually in business, you have like a third fulfillment, a third, production, and then you have like a 15-20% in advertising, which is basically the catalyst or the fuel, if you want, that you put on the fire to make things go faster, to accelerate your growth. Looking into ways to optimize your advertising as well, your pay-per-click, things like that, can help you get your inventory out of Amazon's hands faster, so you can get your cash sooner. So then you can reinvest and increase your cash flow quicker. So normally you would think about things in years, right? You get your inventory, you keep it in storage for like a year. If you can liquidate it in a year, that's good. And in 1 year, I have 10% profit margin on that whole operation, from getting it from wherever you're importing it or producing it, all the way to your customer's hands. And even afterwards, expanding the customer, making sure they're happy and keeping in touch with them, things like that. But you can have a much faster cycle of these whole things. So with advertising, you can get all of the inventory in, send it to Amazon, and in 2 months liquidate it. And then you get in touch with your customer, and then you have a subscription plan with them. And then each month the customer comes back and they buy again and again and again. Trying to increase the lifetime value of your customers and the average cart amount that they buy, by making them repeat customers and coming back over and over again and buying more things from you. Distributing, over multiple products, not just the one thing that they need now, is very important. And it's difficult to do this on Amazon because you don't have control of your audience, right? Amazon is the one who's doing the marketing for you. They're the ones who are promoting your products and putting you in front of your prospects. What's important is to find ways to get in touch directly with your clients, people who are, buying your products and they value the service that you're providing. Try to communicate with them, try to get them to buy from you directly if you can. Build a direct-to-consumer brand, things like that. So once you're satisfied with your place on Amazon, or you feel like it's not giving results anymore, you need something else on top to go to the next level, to push your business to from 5 figures to 6 figures, and then from 6 figures to 7 figures, then you need to look at direct-to-consumer measures and not just optimize the advertising on the platform through pay-per-click, or like getting the buy box, higher ranking in the search engine, because Amazon is a search engine after all. But also taking those off of Amazon and optimizing them direct to consumer to other platforms. Even more interesting things like getting TV ads, commercials, radio stuff, appearing on podcasts like this, or YouTube videos, talking to people, putting yourself out there and making sure that, hey, these are human beings who have a product that is helping me. I want to interact with them. I care about them. I trust them because they are helping me. They're not just a faceless entity on some platform where I click a button and I get a product at home. And you can do this through your packaging. You can do this through what you include inside the packaging, right? flyers, communications, special discounts, offers, things like that. By putting yourself in the perspective of your customer, talking to them, interviewing them, and asking them what they want, right? Trying to empathize with them and understand that, hey, these people care about certain things. And most people in the market are not servicing these things. They are just giving them their product. And I can do something extra to relate with them, to build a connection between them and my brand, or between them and myself personally, if you have a personal brand, and they're going to have loyalty. They're going to come back and buy from me some more, because they're not doing it just because I give them a product. They're doing it because they want to buy from me.
Pretty cool, man. So you're saying that first, if I understand right, so first we try to improve the cash flow cycle. So for example, we're not coming with a mindset of, okay, let me buy these 1,000 units and I'll do a yearly, just like, for example, 10% return investment, and that's a yearly return investment. But what if we could take the same 1,000 units and do a monthly 10% return investment? Maybe it's, or even monthly 5%, but month over month, we're gonna outgrow the 10% yearly pretty quickly, right? So, and for this, what we can, there's actually many things to do, but I think this would be diving in depth if we want to do a specific episode about that. But I believe that we can improve we can start sourcing domestically. Honestly, I haven't done that. I'm sourcing still in China, but I'm always thinking of moving, because you can get faster the inventory to Amazon, even if the product will cost you a bit more on USA, for example, rather than in China, but you'll get it faster to Amazon, and you play with your cash faster, you get back money faster to your pocket. And I think that's a good idea. Or you can ship faster instead of using slow sea shipping. There's options like for faster sea shipping these days. So for example, instead of shipping 40 days, you can pay a bit more and ship it in 25 days. And again, you have the product faster on Amazon, so you can start selling faster, you get cash back faster. Yeah, that's the first thing. So you improve the cash flow, and this will help us tackle the fees, as the video here is talking about fees and how we can improve upon that. So yes, maybe the fees will go up a little bit, but you can improve your product selling cycle, then you can still earn better and faster and more. And the second thing that you've mentioned, we can improve our marketing and think outside the box a little bit, because if we only rely on Amazon and PPC, and the organic there is pretty good, generally depends on the niche. But what if, as you mentioned, we can think outside the box, and even as a product owner on Amazon, for example, if we have a fishing net, or if we have a whatever, we go to a podcast connected to fishing and we share some value about fishing, and we mention that we have the net. That's different, right? Not many people do that. So if you go and get yourself this year on 100 podcasts and you get a reach of 100,000 people, boom, there you go. You get another, say, 1,000 sales, and you have happy customers because they got to see you, they connected to your personal brand, and that's the lifetime value is going to probably be higher for these people. And we can do all sorts of things like that, connect emotionally to the customer. Improve that lifetime. That's a good metric to talk about, right? The lifetime value, LTV. Yes, improve it by doing things differently. And I think emotions is always good too. Emotional bond is very strong. We are emotional creatures, or humans, aka humans. So yeah, man.
Also, returns fees are also going up. So Amazon handling your returns, and that's a huge deal, because not only are you losing a sale, but you're also paying on top of that for having Amazon deal with the whole process. Yeah. And you also have an unhappy customer. They might, give you negative publicity, and it might lead to loss of sales. So by connecting with them and trying to cater to your audience, you make them happy. Okay. And they're less likely to return, because the number one reason why people return products is because of buyer's remorse. They got it got delivered, and it's an ugly product. Why did I buy this? It doesn't actually solve my problem. They have second guessing thoughts. Then they're like, okay, I'm just going to send it back. Like 90% of returns, from my experience, are in the first 3 days of receiving the package, right? After 60 days, there are no more returns. That's why everyone, if you see in advertising marketing, they offer 90-day guarantees or lifetime guarantees, even in some cases, because most of the returns happen in the first 1% of that period. It doesn't matter if you extend it from 30 to 60 to 90, because you make your customer more happy, and you actually reduce the number of returns because they trust you more. They're like, okay, I like this guy, I'm going to buy from him. Oh, well, this product is not that great. Okay, it's not exactly what I was expecting. If it was someone else, I would return it. But because it's this guy, because I like him, I'm not going to return it. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to be happy with it anyway. So building that connection is very important, and you can work on that through your packaging directly on Amazon, but more effectively if you build the relationship outside of Amazon as well.
Yeah, pretty interesting, man. I was thinking just, for example, somebody receives a package and as you mentioned, sometimes people are just returning it straight away. Packaging, and in order to reduce returns, right, as you mentioned, we need to connect in some way emotionally, right? So first could be nice packaging, something that the perceived value of the customer matches maybe what we promised them on the pictures as well, right? So they perceived something in the pictures, and when they get it physically, they want to see a beautiful box, and not only beautiful in pictures, right? Because otherwise they'd be like, oh, that's not even what I thought it is. But I had a little thought, like maybe we can make them commit to something. So for example, we have on the box, we're gonna have something like, hey, come open me now, and receive a little gift on top of the product or something. So they're like, I have to touch it. They're telling me to touch it to open it. So boom,
take a picture with your product, yeah, and post it on social media. Send it to us, and we're gonna give you a 15% discount or something on your next purchase. And you get social proof, you get referrals, right? Because they're gonna post it on your place as well, and you can showcase to other people. And you also create a commitment in their mind, a psychological commitment. Because if they shared that they bought this product with other people, they're not going to go back on it, right? They're not going to change their mind anymore, even if they have second guessing thoughts. They're going to be like, oh, I've already told people that I bought it. I'm going to look like a fool if I tell them that I changed my mind, right? So by pushing this small action of sharing, right, showcasing that they've taken this thing and they're happy with it, then you cement that idea in their head, and they're not going to return it anymore. And they're also going to like you more, and they're going to buy more stuff from you.
Yeah, it's a good point. People don't want to feel foolish, Although I would recommend, it's a bit off topic, but I would actually recommend to people at some point of their lives, try to put them deliberately themselves in as looking as a fool, just to overcome your insecurities. That's really interesting. That's a bit different topic, but you can start dancing on the street in the middle of a packed street. By the way, it's interesting, just alone.
It helps with confidence a lot.
So then, or just go and sit in the middle of the street. Just maybe someone's listening, like, what the hell is this dude saying? But these are used in maybe some social exercises to improve your self-confidence. But just
and that is actually going to help you with Amazon feeds, because by being more sure about yourself and your confidence in your business, you're going to actually go to Amazon and tell them, hey, my fees are wrong. You've not measured my product correctly. The dimensions are wrong. You can actually take action and improve these things that we've been talking about. Cool. But yeah, we can go more in depth. Of course, we can talk forever about advertising, marketing, all sorts of things like that. If people are interested, they can always show that they're interested, ask us questions, post in the comments if you have any questions, and we're going to be more than happy to answer to the best of our ability. Get in touch over email, LinkedIn, whatever. See if there are any opportunities for us to help you in any way. Read the article. There's a lot of in-depth information there. There's links to all the different changes. So you can see exactly on Amazon's website specifically what they are changing, what their policies are going to be starting from the 18th of January 2022. Some of the things will be changing a bit later in February, but these are going to be issues for the future that we can see. If you have anything else to add, feel free.
Yeah, so we're going to have on the screen here the end screen. We're going to put here the link on screen itself to the article, plus the other video that I mentioned where I was able to lower about a few dollars on each product, so people can see that as an example. And of course, all your details are going to be in the description of Ioan's contacts if you want to contact him and talk to him. Thank you a lot for today, man. It was really interesting, insightful. Appreciate it, and hope to see you here again.
It was actually fun for me as well. Interesting. We're learning together here.
Thank you, man.